If you've worked in older versions of Final Cut Pro 10 prior to version 10.1, then you've got old events and old projects that you'll need to update for this version. Now, if you've never worked in Final Cut Pro 10 before version 10.1, then just feel free to skip this movie. Regardless, there are no exercise files for this movie, so feel free to just sit back and watch. To update your projects and events, you just go to File and Update Projects and Events. And here's the dialog box that you get, so let's go over this. Now, if you choose Update All, then Final Cut is going to search for connected drives that contain Final Cut Events and Final Cut Projects folders, and they'll organize these projects and events into libraries for you. When it does this, each hard drive's contents will be consolidated into a new library. It will name each library after the drive, and all events and projects will be moved into it. Your events will each be converted into a new event within the library, and your projects will go into a separate event called Updated Projects. So this option is the simplest option for sure, but it's kind of a catch-all. It'll bring everything forward, but depending on how you want to work, it might consolidate more than you want. So you can always move stuff around afterwards, and believe me, you definitely will have to do that. But you may also want to exercise a bit more discretion before performing an update. So in that case, you can update your projects and events manually by choosing Locate. And this lets you update manually by choosing which events and projects you want to update. Now, a couple more things about this update process. Final Cut Pro 10 does not copy media during an update. It moves it. This means that you don't actually need any additional disk space to perform the update. Also, if you have any linked media, it's going to create a separate folder called Final Cut External Media on each volume that contains linked media. Final Cut performs all the necessary media reorganization under the hood, so everything is pretty easy for you. All right, now that we have a general idea of how this all works, let's take a look at it in practice. So instead of choosing Update All, which again is going to go out and look for any Final Cut events and Final Cut projects folders on each connected drive and automatically make a separate library out of each, I'm going to choose Locate to manually update my selected projects and events. Now I'm just going to navigate to the locations that contain the projects and events that I want to update. I have some Final Cut events and projects folders on my F drive here. You can see that there they are. And notice down here that it says that you want to choose the volume or folder that contain the folders that you want to update. So I have my drive chosen. Here are my folders. I'll say Update. And here everything is updating into a new library inside of Final Cut. If you have a lot of projects and events, this does take a little bit of time. When it's done, it gives me this dialog box asking me if I want to delete the old projects and events or save them. I'm going to save them for now because I want to show you what happens when I do. So once I do that, you can see that I have a brand new library over here. It's called Media Drive F, which is named after the volume that I took it from. Inside there are several events. I have 2 events full of clips, which came from the events that I updated. And then I have this 3rd event called Updated Projects. And so it took all the projects that I had and put them in one giant master event. So I'm probably going to need to go through and reorganize this a little bit. I can start renaming and moving and deleting as I please. I'm going to hide Final Cut for a moment and come to my Media Drive F. And let's see what it's created here. As you can see, here is my new library. And if I want to look inside, I can right-click and show package contents. And here's one of the updated events. Here's the other updated event. And here's the 3rd event that it created, which contains all of my projects. And of course, as I've said before, you don't want to go poking around inside of the library package, but I did want to show you this for your information. I also have my folder here that says Media Drive F Old Final Cut Projects and Events. So because I didn't choose to send this to the trash and because I saved it, this is where it puts those saved folders. So here's my Final Cut Events and Final Cut Projects folders, safe inside this folder here. Final Cut isn't looking at it right now, though. What it's doing is reading this library file, and that's where all of this stuff lives. So as you can see, updating old projects and events is a fairly easy process, but it certainly helps to know exactly what's going on when you do it.